You may have seen that viral video of Nancy Pelosi's brain breaking, where she was asked whether or not she would consider impeachment for Donald Trump and Bill Barr by George Stephanopoulos on ABC. And then her response was, "Good morning, Sunday morning." We have an obligation. And everyone said, what? Okay. To be fair to Nancy Pelosi, she was asked by George Stephanopoulos. It's kind of a leading question. Did she ever bring up impeachment? No. She was asked if she would consider it. She said, "We have a lot of arrows in our quiver." He asked her again, and that's when her brain went, and she was like, "Good morning, Sunday morning." Boop, 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 boop. Well, leave it to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to remove all doubt. You see, when it comes to Nancy Pelosi saying something, or I'm sorry, when it comes to a journalist giving a leading question to a politician, I can't blame Nancy Pelosi for this narrative the media planted. They wanted the news cycle, impeach Trump. You see, Nancy, are you going to impeach Trump? Well, I haven't thought about it, but now I'll consider it. And here we go. It's exactly as they wanted. Now that the narrative is out there, AOC is on board. Ocasio-Cortez threatens impeachment of Trump and Barr to stop Supreme Court nominee. Bravo, ABC News. They say, Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez told reporters that impeaching President Trump and Attorney General William Barr are potential options for Democrats to stop the nomination of a new Supreme Court justice. No, it isn't. You can't do that. If you try to impeach them over this, you are literally saying you want to destroy the U.S. Oh, that's right. I forgot who I was talking about. Yeah, they do. They're talking about changing the rules. If we win, we're going to change all the rules because we're sore losers. Wow. Come on, man. To quote Joe Biden, you're a regular American, right? Most of you, not too far right, not too far left. You recognize that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? I'm a liberal. The Republicans won. I went, sometimes you lose. I've lived through Democrat presidents and Republican presidents, and these things happen. I don't want to live in a country where one party is trying to sabotage the actual Constitution and government because they want power. I'm sorry, get those people out of there. AOC, get out of there. What are you doing? Here's the quote. She said, "I believe that certainly there has been an enormous amount of law breaking in the Trump administration. I believe that Attorney General Barr is unfit for office and that he has pursued potentially law-breaking behavior," Ocasio-Cortez said. "That being said, these are procedures and decisions that are largely up to House Democratic leadership. But I believe that we must consider again all of the tools available to our disposal and that all of these options should be entertained and on the table." The New York Democrats' remarks largely align with those of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who hinted Sunday that impeachment is just one of the tools Democrats could use to stall the nomination process. Look, I don't care if you're left-wing media, right-wing media, up, down, whatever. This idea that Nancy Pelosi introduced the impeachment thing is just, I think the media wanted it. I think they wanted to entertain it. I talked about it the other day. Of course, I got good traffic on the video, but I try to make the point clear, like the media seeded this concept. George Stephanopoulos is the one who's got us talking about this right now. That it's all, I'm sorry, man. Trump is running against the media. And there you go. Often I talk about Democrats, and I'll talk about the media too. And I have to clarify for people who don't understand. I'm talking about the establishment. The Republican establishment is against Trump and endorsing Joe Biden. The Democrat just means establishment at this point. And the media is leading them. Nancy, don't go and impeach Trump. Well, I wouldn't recommend that. I'm a journalist. And then she goes, oh, okay. And then what do we get? I know he didn't really say that. I'm making a point. That's what they're doing. They say, quote, "We've taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. We have a responsibility to meet the needs of the American people when we weigh the equities of protecting our democracy. That requires us to use every arrow in our quiver," Pelosi said. Trump has vowed to move quickly to fill the vacancy left by Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and even promised the nomination of a woman. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the Senate will hold a vote this session on the nominee. Democrats have urged Republicans to wait until after the election to nominate a new justice, citing the precedent Republicans set in 2016 by refusing to hold hearings on a new nominee during an election year. Along with the impeachment, some Democrats are threatening to pack the Supreme Court with more justices in 2021 should Trump continue with the nomination process. Yeah, they'll do that if they win the presidency and the Senate. But one thing often left out by media outlets is that in 2016, it was the Merrick Garland incident, wasn't that they were just like, we're too close to the election, so we're going to wait. It was the American people elected a Republican majority, and now we have the votes. If the people want a check on the president, we will do that. It's just that simple. They oppose, the political parties are at odds with each other. So offer up a negotiation or don't. And it's really the fault of the Democrats, because I went over this the other day. The Democrats are the ones who changed the rules back in 2013. So what do you want me to say? You reap what you have sown, and you can bask in it. Now, as for impeachment, this just goes to show that the Democrats really would consider lighting the government on fire. It's almost like someone's evicting you from your apartment, or not. They're not even being evicted; they're still there. It's just like, dude, imagine you're in your house. You got like 5 roommates. Let's say you live with 5 people, like a college dorm or whatever, and out of the 5 people, 2 of them want things no one agrees with. So eventually, they just say, you know what? If we can't have our way, we're going to light everything on fire. But let's reframe it another way. Let's play it this way. Every dorm room is given 1 vote, and there are 4 dorm rooms. There should be 4 votes, except one person doubled up. And now there's 2 people in one of the rooms demanding more vote power. You say, no, we don't vote based on how many people are in your room. Just because you started dating Sarah, dude, doesn't mean she gets to have a vote on what we do with our apartment or our dorms or whatever. You see the point I'm trying to make? Just because California's big doesn't mean that they get to change all the rules because they've lost. And then you got one dude who's paying all the rent. And he's like, I'm paying the rent, so I get to decide. Anyway, analogy over. Listen, the point is, they're angry they keep losing. Have they tried negotiating? Have they tried going to red states and offering up some real changes? No. Well, whose fault is that? Certainly not mine, and I shouldn't suffer. But now the point of the analogy was, when they don't get their way, they just start setting fires, and then you're burning the house down. That's you know what they end up doing? They say, well, when we win, we're going to take a sledgehammer and knock all the walls down. Then what are you going to do about it? And you're like, okay, nobody give them a sledgehammer. That's kind of what I'm saying. Please don't give the Democrats the sledgehammer, because if they get power, they're going to literally tear apart our government. They're going to be ripping up the Constitution. They're going to be shredding every norm. They are threatening to go nuclear, and they kept doing it. What we're seeing right now is their own making. It was Harry Reid, a Democrat, who changed the rules, resulting in Trump getting 3 Supreme Court justices. Democrats, if you're mad, you got to blame Democrats. Well, McCarthy threatens motion to oust Pelosi if she moves forward with impeachment. Well, you know what? Good. The Hill reports. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday threatened to introduce a motion to oust Speaker Nancy Pelosi if she attempts to impeach President Trump or Attorney General William Barr as a delayed tactic to prevent the Senate from confirming Trump's Supreme Court nominee. Some have pushed for Pelosi to impeach Barr or Trump for a second time as a stall tactic to keep the empty seat vacated by the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg until after the presidential election. Appearing on Sunday's ABC's The Week, Pelosi said, "We have our options, we have our arrows in our quiver, and I'm not about to discuss that right now." McCarthy blasted the comments and said he believes the president is correct in moving forward with the nomination ahead of the election. The president is supposed to move forward, and they will. The Senate is supposed to take action, and they will. It's their constitutional right, and they are following through. I think the whole argument about Mitch McConnell in the past is a waste of time. And in the past, I had said I wasn't a fan of what McConnell did. And I'll tell you, Merrick Garland was a moderate. That's my understanding. And so I think the Republicans could have confirmed the guy and said, okay, it's a compromise. They didn't want to do it. And I'll tell you what, they didn't have to. The president nominates, the Senate confirms. The Senate was controlled by Republicans. That's it. End of story. Obama did his job and nominated someone, and the Senate did their job saying no. That's it. Now what do we have? Now we have Donald Trump saying, I'm going to put forth a nominee, and the Senate saying we're going to do our job and say yes. If the Democrats want to win, they need to vote. They need to win the vote. They need to get their politicians in. You know what? Maybe they will. But I think one of the problems Democrats face is that California, too population dense. But what's happened recently? Well, earlier this year, we saw a pandemic and people started fleeing these blue cities. And what did that do? It could potentially shift a lot of demographics in favor of Joe Biden. Because now you have people in California who have very little relative power in the Electoral College voting in other states. How many of them went home to the Midwest? How many people from across the country spread out? It could theoretically benefit the Democrats, assuming vote by mail works and assuming these people registered and assuming they actually care. You know, it's really funny. I have a bunch of friends in Chicago who, I say a bunch, it's a handful. And they post stuff on Facebook, dumb things about how Trump is bad. These people are not going to vote. I would bet a lot of money they're not going to vote. They go on Facebook, they go, yeah, and they do nothing. Trump's base, however, oh man, they're fired up. And the silent majority, I believe there's a silent majority. I could be proven wrong, but I think there are regular people who are scared and tired, sick and tired of what the Democrats are doing. And thus, I think it's not going to play out well for the Democrats. If they use impeachment to delay, that will be a ridiculous violation of our norms. You know what? I hope they do. I really do. Because they will lose so bad if they do. It'll be a Republican sweep across the board everywhere. It'll be the end of the Democrats. But I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.